right, welcome to the Late to Work podcast with Diamond and Wild, but that's not Wild, that's Joker. Joker, what's your ETA?
ETA right now is looking like 819, so 11 under.
How under is that?
That's 11 under. How about you?
It's not looking good. I woke up like 45 minutes late, so
Finally.
I'm just getting out the door.
It's you know
It's
I've
a
I've been doing these guest appearances as Joker for I think this might be my fourth one, fifth one, and you've been great about it. You've been 15, 20 under your 10 commitment or whatever the vernacular is. I'm glad to hear that you're dragging a little bit today.
yeah, I am. The muscle relaxers got me. Like I have my alarm set that makes me get out of bed, and I went and turned that alarm off, and I looked at the bed and I was like, "Don't do it. Don't get back in there." And I was like, "Oh, but it feels so good to sleep a little bit more."
He's a
And
real
then,
siren, that Serta.
and
He's
she
got to go
she
over
pulled
that
me,
ship's edge.
pulled me right down into the depths, and I slept some more.
I haven't been really keeping up with the pod, but why are you on muscle relaxers? Is it your back? I know you were having a lot of trouble with.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, bud.
They're trying to get me
Yeah.
to be okay if I just take muscle relaxers for like a month to let my
Mm,
hopefully it's a muscle issue and it heals. But yeah, so I'm running late. I better get moving actually.
yeah.
Part of what's going on, so one second. Part of what's going on is that my uncle grows insanely hot peppers, like enthusiast level hot peppers that you have to handle with gloves. They're not really edible.
So he borderline engineers them to be
Yeah,
as
he
possible.
yeah, he trades seeds online with other pepper enthusiasts and makes his own hybrids, and
Mm,
he's just like a mad pepper scientist.
okay.
So, things like Carolina Reapers and stuff like that are common in his garden.
Mm.
Um,
Well, you know what I say?
Ghost
Better
peppers.
to better to have Carolina Reapers than Rapers.
Yeah. Luckily, it's all the not the latter. What would you say? The prior?
Former?
None of the latter. Yeah, all of the former. But
So
so he,
you get those for free, I take it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when I go to his house, um, he like takes me on a tour through his pepper garden. Like every year that he takes me on the tour, the pepper garden grows, and it's like half his backyard now. And he just gave me one of his plants. It's a hybrid. It's a hybrid between a, oh my god, what's it called? I can't remember Primatelli. It's a Primatelli,
Prematelli. Okay.
a chocolate Primatelli crossed with a mustard T Rex.
Mustard T-Rex. That sounds like what they
Yeah,
were spraying the soldiers with over in Vietnam. A
yeah. It tastes
mustard
like it
T-Rex.
too.
Huh.
Yeah, it tastes like it.
Yeah.
So
Do you like enjoy it? I mean, like I'm sure. I mean, I know you
yeah,
like spicy food, but I I feel like at a certain point you're not really tasting much. It's just heat.
yeah, yeah. It is. So no, I do enjoy it. I enjoy like the shock and the risk.
And the
So I
risk.
ate, yeah, there's digestive risks.
Calm down.
Yeah, right before we started recording, you ran a red light, so that lady better watch out.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking bad. I'm kind of dragging also, but
So he gave me the pepper plant, and I had one pepper that I pulled it off the plant. It was a little bit too ripe, but I was just too excited. I couldn't wait. And I took it into the house, and I very carefully handled it, and I cut off just the tip, like the furthest part of the
just
meat away from the seed. Just the tip.
circumcise the pepper.
Yeah, and I ate like a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter
Oh my God.
piece
Stop.
of the meat with a fork.
What's the point?
I mean, it was really hot. Like it was not the hottest thing I've ever had, but
Right.
like your tongue is not okay for at least 5 minutes after that, and we're talking about literally a centimeter of pepper.
I have to imagine also that like a part of the reason you're handling it with such care is if you get some residue or some, some whatever, some pepper juice on you, and then you go, you give your Tim a kiss, or you're going and playing with your son Tim. There's some cross contamination, and they're burning.
Yeah, no, I don't want to send my Tim to the hospital.
Right, right. Two Tims. I gotcha.
So, or go piss or whatever. So yeah, you got to be careful. Um, but the long and short of it is that one little piece has got my stomach feeling a little funky this morning. I can feel my intestines like, no, something's not okay down there.
Yeah. Well, I
But
wish you the best of luck. Don't you have like a boss too who's a stickler about you being at your desk also? So like bathroom breaks or how many bathroom breaks do you take? I know there was the saga with you going to the other portion of the building to go number two. But how many
yeah, I had
times
to
would you
give
go?
up on.
Uh-huh.
So there's two. Yeah, let's get into that. There's two. there's a couple things going on.
Got
So one is that we haven't been as busy lately, and I was talking to one of the corporate managers, and I just kind of mentioned that I'm losing my mind inside of a cement rectangle all day.
Who's your master?
She's like, "Well,
Who's
go
your master?
outside and get some fresh air." And I was like, "Well, I can't really. We're on the 11th floor, and it takes a minute to get down there and get outside. And our manager doesn't love for us to be gone in case he needs us." And she was like, "Take 5 minutes and go outside." So I
How generous of
negotiated.
them. Take 5 minutes to go outside.
Yeah.
Truly
So I
spoiled in
negotiated.
the modern workforce.
I know. I thought it was hilarious that I negotiated some sunshine into
Yeah,
my life.
yeah, 5 minutes.
Because you can see the light in my room. Like I have a beautiful view and a ton of natural light,
You know,
but it's not the same as the actual sun hitting your skin while you're outside.
I'm picturing as soon as she tells you to take 5 minutes, I'm just seeing her click a stopwatch.
No.
Go ahead, take
it,
5.
yeah, go. What do you have
Go,
to
go.
lose? Everything. So it's I've been going outside. I went outside twice yesterday, and it feels great.
Yeah,
I
man.
just go out there. I stand out there for my 5 minutes. I take my glasses off and just kind of peer,
Get your
not
vitamin
into
D.
the sun. What?
Get your vitamin D.
Yeah, yes, I'm getting my vitamin D exactly.
Absolutely.
I watched the Andrew Huberman video about it, and now I'm all about letting the sun touch me. It's so stupid. You have to watch a YouTube video to get you to let
To,
the sun
to
touch you.
realize that the sun is good. Well, most of the
Yes.
time.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been doing that twice a day, and I usually don't have to poop while I'm at work. I try to have a schedule where I don't. However, the couple times I have, I've given up on floor 10, and there is a bathroom for movement impaired people on my floor, and it's a solo squatter with its own sink, and it's a nice little bathroom. And I would use it more often, but the problem is that the door is purely automatic. Like you can't manually really move the door. Um, so you hit a button and the door slowly opens, and then you walk inside, and then you have to wait, and there's another button for when you're safely inside, and then the door slowly closes. And what discourages me from that bathroom is you don't want to be, an able-bodied big boy camped outside this door watching it close for 20 seconds and stuff like that. Like everybody knows why you're going in there. There's no more secrecy. And there's
You're
an
saying there's
optometrist.
not really like a quick in and out, and just attracts more eyes, more attention.
Yeah, first off, what if somebody needed it who was movement impaired?
That's
And
that's a big
secondly,
reason.
and secondly, everybody knows why I'm going in there.
Right.
It's gonna get ugly.
I mean, like
So
you walk with a cane on occasion. You're not, you know,
that's true. Maybe I need to
not the
bring my
most
cane just so
able.
that I can.
Yeah, the cane
Yeah,
just for bathroom appearances.
yeah.
That
Just
that
so
is
people don't ask me
that
why
is
I'm using that one.
absolutely a curb episode.
It's right outside the door of my office too, so everybody knows when you're standing there and watching that door open and close. The optometrist across the hall from us can see it too. So I'm just like looking left and right to see if any of the receptionists of either practice are looking at me.
Ooh, sorry.
No, you're good. So let's see. I'm running a little bit late here. I think I'm going to be a little bit over my 10 under, but still under to the 7. Because things have been a little bit slower, one quick thing, because they've been slower, they gave me and my partner,
Oh God, I'm sorry.
oh my gosh,
Okay,
they
I'm
gave,
sorry.
it's okay. They gave us each a late day, this week because we're working 5 days. So she's not coming in till like 9:30 and I got to be there. Um, and then on Wednesday, tomorrow, I get to take my late day, and I'm stoked because I'm gonna go hang out with my Warhammer friends and have a few beers and
Tonight?
not feel like death at 5 in the morning. Actually, yeah, that'll be tonight.
Oh, that'll be fun. Because those
I'm looking
games can
forward
run
to
a
it. I
little
haven't
long.
gone out there much.
Oh, very nice,
I
Tommy.
don't even think I'm gonna play.
Oh, Diamond.
I don't even think I'm gonna play. I just reached out to my best buddy over there and was like, "You want to just skip the playing part and get beer?"
You know,
So I think that's what we're gonna do.
yeah, especially when your vices are so kind of few and far between. A guy like you who's working 10, 11-hour days, and then, you have to go ahead and devote some time to your spouse, and then, I'm sure uh, your son Tim can go ahead and you have to prioritize attention his way also. So, you would without your 5 minutes of sun a day and then the occasional Warhammer get together, I think you'd probably be institutionalized right now. So I'm glad you're getting out there.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely got to make time for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm glad that I actually know people that I can meet up with in person
Hmm.
in Nashville because that wasn't true for most of the time that I lived here. um, and when it was true and Deegs was out here, I was in the middle of like courting my now wife, so I was prioritizing time with my kid and my wife over time hanging out with old Deegs.
Right.
So now that I've like have a stable life again, it's nice that there are some social options.
Yeah. That don't include peaks.
Yeah, no.
It's amazing how this puzzle just kind of seamlessly fit together over the course of the last. Jesus, how long has it been? How long have you been down there?
Let's see. Tim was 2, and he's about to be 10, so it's been about 8 years.
You know, I
Uh,
I can't tell if it like absolutely like feels as long as it is, or if it feels yeah, it probably feels about that. It's been a long time. A lot's
yeah,
changed. I feel like, especially over the last like 5-ish years. Um,
yeah, for sure. I believe it or not, Deegs actually does come around here every now and then. I just haven't been able to catch him, but I did have one brunch with him.
yeah, yeah, I heard. Especially now that he's in we're doxing the shit out of him this episode, especially now that he's in Atlanta. Um,
Yeah, what part of Atlanta is he in? I'm just kidding. No, yeah, he's
what's his office number?
yeah.
What's the
Well,
last four of his
he
social?
does the restoration, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's more like a project manager now. It's in some kind of like, and he can go ahead and correct this on the Discord if he chooses. But yeah, I think it's some kind of like project management, some kind of supervisory role, though. I think.
Well, I have
I
news
think
for you. He cannot use computers well enough to get to the Discord, so he'll think he's on the Discord, and
he is
he's
pretty
gonna
good
be
with
making
them.
a Facebook post.
It's just shouting into the ether, waiting for some response from
Just his
someone who
own
isn't
social
there.
security number.
It's just a Facebook post with a social security number. Here it is. um,
I'm the Joker, just wouldn't shut up about it.
the people get what the people want. 02352. um, well, I got a
But
so
let's talk about you. Sorry, let's talk about you. You've got all new shit going on. What's new?
here's some new stuff. So I'd come down here to Philadelphia, right, to move in with my girlfriend, and I'm working for Tim Life. That's not good enough, but I'm working for Tim Life. You know, it's the most I've ever made. You know, it's not a ton compared to some other people, but for me, it's good money. Um, but when I got hired for Tim Life, I had received another call about a job working for a large insurance carrier, a commercial insurance carrier. And I actually had made it to the final round of interviews. You know, I took the phone interview just as like, might as well, but I've already got this job lined up. So I took the phone interview, and then I got to the next stages of interview, then the next stage, and then the final stages. And there was like five of us interviewing for two open underwriting positions for this carrier. Um, and then after my last round of interviews with the head of HR, um, they kept on delaying when I would find out about the position, because then she went on PTO, and so did the vice president of commercial insurance that I also interviewed with. Um, and then ultimately yesterday, I found out that I didn't get the job. It would have been a lot more money. It would have been really good money. And my commute would have been a walk at this point to the middle of Center City. So that was a I can't even say I'm disappointed, to be honest with you, because I'm really I'm at a point right now where I'm starting to grow comfortable at the office I'm at now. I really appreciate my leadership, my supervisor who I'm working under. I'm looking at 8 under now. Um, and it was just kind of like pretty validating to even get to the final round of interviews. Um, after already having gotten a job and then kind of still doing well in that process somewhere else. So I did not get the job, but I'm not disappointed. Um, and I think it's, once I have a year or so in at this current position, then I'm going to start to take a look at the commercial insurance game again, because that's really where I was sharpening my teeth up until this point. But
It's pretty. Well, it's like sorry that you didn't get the job, but I agree with you. That's all cool stuff to have. Like I've been in similar positions where you've got like multiple prospects,
uh
and this it must be what players feel like. Men who keep many side pieces.
yeah,
Like I don't know if you ever felt like you were cheating on your current job, but like sometimes I have
absolutely,
felt like,
Diamond. I absolutely felt that way.
yeah,
Which is weird,
yeah,
and it was funny too because I had just been having a conversation during my one-on-one, like a week or so ago, where we were talking about the agents, because my position isn't as a sales agent, but we were talking about the agents, how once their contracts trigger, they have to get a certain amount of commission, then their contracts trigger, then they're expected to quit whatever job they're working at the time and become a agent full time. and my supervisor was going over like, a certain amount of loyalty expected. There's got to be, a level of, dedication to the company despite what you may think of it. And I did agree with him, but it was just kind of, I guess I was sweating a little bit considering I was like in the middle of these interview processes too while I was having the conversation with him about loyalty.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's those situations kind of happen, and like for me, where I've never really been much of a two timer. I've got to say that when you're two timing jobs, it can actually feel kind of good.
Yeah,
You have a bad day at one job, you're in the interview process of another job, and then you kind of say, well, you know what? I got one over here who likes me just as much. She
yeah,
likes how much I play golf,
yeah,
and all of a sudden you're okay.
yeah. You know what
So
too, and then especially with kind of uh, everything that happened with Wild, it's just these places you. I know we've been talking about it a lot on the pod. You can't. You always have to do right by you first because they've got a very short leash. These places they can talk out of the sides of their mouth. And loyalty is it's thin. Especially at these places. So you
it's just
always
not
have
a
to.
two-way street.
Exactly. You always have to be able to move. You can't get too too stuck or too clingy to any current role. So yeah, ultimately doing pretty good. You know, the money would have been really nice, but just gonna kind of hang out for a while, get comfortable here in Philly, because the goal was always to kind of get down here first, and that's what I did. And then I'll be probably start the job search again, maybe early next year.
Yeah. Well, and you'll know that you're in a position to get those other things that you're wanting financially and whatever in the future.
Yeah,
And they
definitely.
may call you back. If you're a final round candidate at a company, a lot of times they're going to keep that resume too. So,
Yeah, that's what the
uh,
recruiter. So the recruiter was worked for Chubb. So that's what he had said also is that, they were gonna the higher ups that I interviewed with were going to hang on to my resume, because I do have my insurance license and, I've got like it's not a lot of experience, but I've got experience in commercial insurance, which it sounded like I was one of like two candidates who actually did. Um, so yeah, I don't know what the success rate on them hanging on to a resume and then calling somebody back once another position opens up is. But they had at least said they were going to do that. But it could all be bullshit anyway. So
yeah, I've done it a couple times. Honestly, in my experience, when I was hiring people, it was rare to have multiple candidates that were awesome. Like usually you had one awesome candidate and they were kind of your no-brainer and you just had to wait until you found them.
right.
But when you are in the rare position where you have a few people that kind of all could be categorized as no-brainers, I mean, it's a fortunate position to be in as a hiring manager. But you definitely keep the resumes and you call them, maybe a year or 6 months later, and you're like, hey, there was some change, and now we've got a different role. This one's a little further from your house, and you see if you can make that work.
Hmm.
So I can tell you from my experience, it is a thing.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you got to be careful because you got your no brainers, and then you got your no brainers, and you
Yeah,
got to make sure you don't accidentally hire the no brainers.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Both files are labeled the same,
yeah,
so you kind of roll the dice.
one of them has no brains, and the other one of the easy choices. Got the no brainers and the no brainers. Um,
So if you're from the former, if you're from the prior, not the latter, what is it?
I think the
The
former
former.
the
Yeah,
former is
yeah.
what the first one said, and then the latter is the most recent one said.
So if you're from the former, not the latter, you might get a call. So,
Okay,
uh, but how is your Tim doing?
he's great. Um, so we were down in Ocean City where her family lives, and I got to meet her brother and his kids from Florida. So I've officially met all of her immediate family. Um, and she's great. Honestly, this is gonna sound so gay, but like I keep saying, like falling in love with this woman is far and away the gayest thing that's ever happened to me. But like I was hanging out with their family, and it just like it's probably the third or fourth time I've hung out with them now, and it's finally started to feel comfortable to the point to where like we can exchange like pot shots at each other and just joke around and bullshit and like like they're kind of talking to me like I'm a member of the family now. Um, and because I had lived at home for so long and I was so concerned with how I would be being away from my family, it's just anywhere I go with my Tim and her Tims, it's just starting to feel like home. So it's everything's going great. I really don't have any complaints. We're almost a month in, so I think you said I still had the honeymoon period was 6 months, I think you said.
I would say roughly.
6 months. All right. So we'll check in another 5 months, I guess. But really, everything's going good. She's been in Ocean City for the past 4 or 5 days. Um, but yeah, she's gonna come back up today, and I'll be sharing the nest again. But
Is she gonna come back to you've just defiled her home while she was in Ocean City, or is it neat?
it's funny you say that because I had Wild over for House of Dragon on Sunday, which we could probably do a whole episode on because I haven't been thrilled with the first 2 episodes of House of Dragon. But I'd had Wild over, and we were kind of talking about that because I know that that's something like every guy has to deal with on occasion is that kind of like neuroticism surrounding, because guys, we're totally fine with living in filth, and I don't think we have the same perspective of or like the same ideas clean and stuff like that. So I have been trying to clean as I've been going, and it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong, but
So
I think I've left the house in a pretty solid state.
I gotta go in, but
Okay,
here's been my experience firsthand, and then I gotta run. Is just I'll look at the house when she leaves, and I'll look at the house when she comes back,
right.
and it'll be the same. And my Tim will be like, "What the hell has happened in here?" And you're like, "Oh, come on, really?" I barely moved anything.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
like this
almost like
is
they do it on purpose, though. Yeah,
yeah. So you have to make it cleaner than when they left, and they still might complain.
double
So just
standard.
d- depending on how your Tim approaches these things, but
Yeah, no, she's
I
pretty cool.
definitely like been like, yo, I scrubbed the kitchen, dude. Like, what are you talking about? But the blankets aren't folded or whatever. But
Yeah.
I gotta go. I'm Diamond. That's Joker.
All right,
Thanks for
Diamond.
joining us on this wonderful morning. Have a great day, Joker.
Have a good day, bud.
See you.